Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a segment over from The View, oh joy, talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the killer of Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, and what they think of this entire situation. This should be interesting. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get into today's video.
With this pointing of fingers and pendulum swinging is history just doing it. If you don't get off the ride and stop doing the pointing when it comes to politics, because I don't think our political
I see what she's doing here
now is what is driving a lot of these violent acts. I think what the problem is, there are studies showing the decline of third spaces, which is, you have your family, and then you have work or school, and then communities used to
There's some truth to that.
Churches, the local sports store, a hobby place. We used to interact with each other. It's not a coincidence that the arch goes up at the same time as social media and smartphones. We have stopped connecting with people, and
okay, pause. Okay. So I see what she's doing here. So she's trying to correlate this person, Tyler Robinson, as somebody who was just antisocial, somebody who was a victim of the generation that we're living in today, where kids are growing up on iPads as opposed to communicating one-on-one with other people because their social skills completely are lacking. And I agree to an extent that the newer generation definitely is suffering when it comes to human contact and human communication. I know when I was a kid growing up, I was outside 24/7 from sun up to sundown. On my rollerblades, on my bicycle, playing with the neighborhood kids. Like, I was never inside just playing video games or on tablets, because when I grew up, I was a part of the last great generation right before the technology boom. So I was a part of the generation of dial-up internet, of beepers, flip phones, right? This is before everything took off, way before social media. So we were forced to have conversations and to connect. So I do agree with her in the extent of the current generation. If you were born after 1996 pretty much and on, you really are going to be lacking when it comes to human connection, because your whole life you've been introduced to an online world. I agree, but it's much deeper than that. And I feel like she's only touching the surface, because if she goes deeper than that, then she has to look within on what a platform like her show does every single day. We know that this was political. This is not just an antisocial person who, was battling depression, and so he just out of nowhere just shot somebody. No, this is somebody who was indoctrinated, who was radicalized, who believed that Charlie Kirk was a danger to society. He believed that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi, was a fascist. He used that term repeatedly. His close friends said that he was the only leftist in his family, that he was constantly talking about how hateful Charlie Kirk was. He was almost obsessed with him. Where does that come from? If it's that he's not talking to other people and he's online all the time, who's he talking to online? What platforms is he being indoctrinated by? Who is he listening to? Those questions matter, but those questions, they don't want answered on a show like The View, because if it turns out that he was listening to left-leaning commentators and influencers, then they have to look within and ask themselves, what part did they play in this act? They always want to go to gun violence, right? Or let's talk about other political assassination attempts or assassinations that actually happened. And while those conversations can be had, it's not going to erase what we saw last Wednesday. It's not going to erase it. So you guys talking about violence that happened last year or the year before that, and let's focus on everything as a whole, is not going to change where we are right now, what's happening right now, and the clear difference between the two different political parties. Full stop. But again, if they do that, then they have to self-reflect on themselves. And that is something that they are not willing to do, which is why they're all kumbaya right now. But I guarantee you, if the shooter was a right-wing conservative, a Donald Trump diehard supporter, and it came out that he was trying to kill, a left-wing influencer, do you think that the tone of the show would be what it is right now? Oh, let's all just, come together. This is about these kids being loners, and it's not political. Let's not make it that way. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I guarantee you that if the person was right-wing, confirmed, the tone of The View would be, it's fascism. It's Donald Trump's fault. Republicans, radicals, look at what they're doing. You see. It will be a completely different tone. But because we know that this person most likely was left-leaning, most likely was associating himself with Antifa, most likely was influenced by people like The View, suddenly it's, let's not talk about that. Not important. Yeah, how convenient. Let's keep watching.
I'm still remembering there is a 31-year-old man who I didn't necessarily agree with on many things.
He would go with, I didn't really agree with all that he said. I didn't really like what he said. I can't stand that crap. Like, do not give condolences if it's going to start with, I don't agree with what they said or who they were. Like, what does that have to do with anything? He was killed. He was murdered. He was killed. He was murdered. Let me say it again. He was killed. He was murdered. If somebody that you knew, right, that was close to you passed away in a horrific way, would you go to their family members at the funeral and say, I'm so sorry that Sally died? Just so you know, I didn't always agree with her on all of her thoughts. Like we disagree sometimes. But, just so you know, I'm sorry that she died. Would that be appropriate? If the answer is no, then why are we doing it now that it's Charlie Kirk? What that is virtue signaling. That's what that is. That's, I don't want people to know, or I don't want people to associate me with this person because I may get canceled. So let me put a disclaimer before I give my condolences. I say keep your condolences. Okay? If you're too afraid to just say, or to be decent and to say as a human being, I'm so sorry that this person was killed, full stop, keep your condolences. All right, Anna, what you got to say?
It doesn't matter what their political persuasion was. People are out there trying to portray Charlie Kirk as if he was spreading pixie dust around the country. A lot of people, to use the word of Governor Cox, found what he said inflammatory or worse.
Another one. It's like they have a script that they have to read. Make sure you say this. Make sure. Even though what he said was extreme to some people. You know what's funny? They can never actually give you actual contextual quotes about what he said that was so offensive. Here's a thought. Just because something triggers you doesn't mean that it's relevant or valid. In fact, the word trigger is a very left-leaning type of term. What that means is you can't say something because if you say something that triggers me, it may trigger a reaction. No, what that means is you're a lunatic. What that means is you have no self-control. What that means is you're not living in reality. That's what that means. Because my words should never trigger another person to do something negative to me or to somebody else because they're just words. But to the left, it's always, oh, well, you triggered something. And you know how I know this? Because Charlie Kirk's murder. What have you been hearing from the left? Well, if he just didn't say this, he would still be alive. So in other words, if you didn't trigger Tyler, he wouldn't have shot him. Right, because that rationalization makes perfect sense. Let's talk about words and their meanings, shall we? Here's an exchange that Charlie had with somebody when he was debating about race. Now, one of the claims that people like Anna are trying to make is that Charlie was a racist. He wasn't spreading pixie dust. He was causing division. Okay. Watch this clip and you tell me, is this division? Is this racism?
Is this the guy you're calling a racist?
One thing that white people and black people have different biologically.
Don't change the question of this. Like DNA-wise, we are different.
No, we're not. That's a lie. It has been disproven. Front page of National Geographic 6 months ago. Racism created by society. Race is a social construct that I want to break out of.
Hold up. He doesn't even believe in race. The Oxford English Dictionary defines racism as prejudice based on race, or the belief that some races are inherently superior. But if Charlie's a racist, why is he arguing race doesn't exist? If he's a white supremacist, doesn't he need race to be real? I mean, you can't be a racial supremacist while arguing racial categories are fake. And wait a sec, race has been used to justify oppressing black people for centuries. So why is the black kid defending racial categories while the white supremacist wants to destroy them? This isn't new for Charlie. He's been saying this for years. And guess what? He's right.
Interesting. Here's another clip of Charlie having an exchange with a gay conservative person. And watch how he completely disavows this person. Watch how he completely makes this person feel like an outsider. How hateful. Watch this.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom.
Wait. So he didn't He didn't attack the gay conservative. He didn't make him feel like an outsider. He didn't verbally make him feel bad about himself. He wasn't homophobic. Uh-oh. Next clip. Yeah, you're going to find multiple clips like this. Multiple clips that give context to things that Charlie Kirk has said that the left is trying to twist and turn to somehow make it okay about why he died. It's disgusting. Finally, I want you to watch this clip. This is a compilation of how the left has been talking about Donald Trump, his supporters, the MAGA movement, and conservative commentators and activists like a Charlie Kirk. And you tell me, was Tyler influenced by this language?
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism, is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Funny how The View won't call that divisive, abhorrent. Folks, it's ironic that Charlie Kirk's organization was called Churning Point USA because his murder, his assassination, is going to be a turning point for USA. Trust and believe. And also the world. Also the world. Like I said in my last video, killing him is not going to kill his movement. We are all Charlie Kirk now. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this video. What do you think of the narrative that is being pushed about Charlie Kirk? And do you think it's fair? If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. Until next time, peace.